From Hollywood. Welcome to the Rat's Ass Podcast with Mojo Elliott.
And here we go with a brand new week, and man, have we got a lot to get to today. From the Mojo Studio, high above an old dive bar on Hollywood and Vine, I will be your guide today for this action-packed adventure.
Let's do it.
Well, hell, I'm the guide for every action-packed adventure. All right, here's what's on tap on the Wrap. I have a message for the boobs at YouTube. When you go to a baseball game, you really got to know the rules of the jungle. Women should never travel alone on public transit, and I'll tell you why. Have you heard of Reverend James David Manning? Well, you're about to. And I do have a confession to make today. And today is the day. Another round of head trauma is on the way. Today we're going to play I Start It and You Finish It, if you get the cojones. Plus our usual lunacy and loose behavior, including I Saw It on the X. That's what's happening today on the Rat's Ass Podcast for Monday, September 8th. How was your weekend? Did you get some booty? Tell us about it at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. No, it's purely up to you. You don't have to share if you don't want to. We'd love to hear about it, though. We will talk about you, too. All right, I spent my weekend watching football. I bet I put on 3 pounds this weekend. I mean, I slammed pizza, wings, barbecue, burgers, hot dogs, cheesecake, soda pop, beer, you name it. If it was in front of me, down the hatch it went. I ran my blood sugar up so high, I heard my metformin scream, "Fuck it, you're on your own, buddy." Now, the way I feel today, I can honestly say I'm too old for this BS. It's back to shrimp salad and iced tea next weekend. All right, let's get into the wrap. YouTube TV made it impossible for me to subscribe to Red Zone. I don't know if you had this problem or not. I want to subscribe to Red Zone only. I don't want the Sunday game ticket because I'm a Raiders fan living in Los Angeles, and they consider Las Vegas to be part of the DMA, meaning that they consider Las Vegas to be part of the Los Angeles TV market. So regardless, if I bought it or not, I still couldn't watch the Raiders. It was the same when they were in Oakland, too, by the way. So I've never been able to enjoy the Raiders watching off the Sunday ticket. So I said, screw it, I just want Red Zone. That way I can see some of the game. Now, here's the solution I found, and it took me like half of the early games to figure this out. I downloaded the NFL app on my TV, and I signed up there for Red Zone only. It's $14.99 or $60 for the season, but well worth it. YouTube still advertises that you can get Red Zone for $10.99 per month. Problem is, they want you to do the $35 a month deal or $34.99 deal with the Sunday game ticket. Well, screw that. I just wanted Red Zone. So that's your solution. All right, the big buzz over the weekend was about Philly Karen, whose real name is Cheryl Richardson Wagner. She's the one who felt entitled to a baseball hit that landed in her section and went full-scale Looney Tunes on the man who grabbed it and gave it to his son. Yeah, that one. You've probably seen her all over social media this weekend. Now, the man gave her the ball just to get rid of her because she was a raging lunatic. The colored hair, big liberal glasses. So I do want to warn you, though. When you go to a baseball game, you have to know the rules of the jungle. The jungle, man. Welcome to the jungle. You're going to die. Now, here's the deal. When there is a loose ball in the stands, the rule is there are no rules. I don't care how many sections a fan goes to retrieve it. Now, the right thing to do if you're an adult is to give the ball to a kid. Your kid, somebody else's kid. That's the nice thing to do. Sometimes it's a hot babe to try and, open the conversation. That happens too. Now, if the ball is hit by the opposing team, you have the option to throw it back on the field. But the bottom line is whoever ends up with possession of the ball determines what happens to the ball next. That's the rules of the jungle. Now, in this case, Drew Feltwell chose to take the ball from his son and give it to Cheryl just to get her out of his face. The end result, though, Drew's son met Harrison Bader, the Phillies player who hit the ball. He came away with some autographed merch. And Marcus Malonis, the guy who plays the fixer on TV, is going to set them up with a trip to the World Series. Phillies or not, doesn't matter. They're gone to the games. Cheryl Richard Wagner, on the other hand, is now known as Karen Ball Snatcher. She can't leave her house because she says, I'm being treated unfairly over all of this. Of course, it's always somebody else's fault when you're liberal. But she went full liberal lunatic on a father and son. Make no mistake about this, folks. Americans have had enough of these sniveling little entitled liberal lunatics. And now they're starting to find out. We know these are the people who have always been behind cancel culture. And now the tide has turned. Now we're canceling them. yeah, the 2% isn't going to wag the tail of the 98% anymore. So poor Cheryl's going to have to dye her hair, install probably contact lenses, get rid of the glasses, and of course she'll have to take the bone out of her nose too. Now, if this incident I'm about to tell you about doesn't make you feel rage for these radical liberal judges appointed by Obama, Biden, and Schumer, you're probably dead inside. And if you support the man who did what I'm about to talk about, you're pure evil. And Satan is making a bed for you in hell right now. On August 22nd, that's almost 3 weeks ago, Irina Zarutska, a 23-year-old refugee from Ukraine, was brutally stabbed to death by DeCarlos Brown, a black man, on a train in Charlotte, North Carolina. A mass transit train. Now, Brown has been charged with first-degree murder, but the sad part is he had been arrested 14 times before and released. 14 times. Let that sink in. Now, this is news now because the liberal legacy media tried to cover it up by not reporting it. Why? Because it goes against their narrative. It wasn't gun violence. It was knife violence. Democrats only want to talk about gun violence because it's a talking point to slam Republicans. Forget the fact that they've been screaming about guns since Columbine in 1999, and they've never pushed for any real gun regulation. It's just a talking point to them. They don't want to talk about knife violence because, well, God forbid, they take on another issue they won't do a damn thing about. So the Democrats, with their liberal media, decided not to report it. The liberal media hacks. Social media picked up on this story. X, I'll just tell you, it was X. Okay, X has become my newspaper and many other people's newspaper because we can talk about the news on X. And that's why we're starting to hear about it now on September 8th. We heard about it over the weekend. So how many days was that? Almost 3 weeks that this went down before we're hearing about it. Now, some people are talking about, well, they're scrubbing her name from the media so it looked like it never happened at all. And that it could be. Could be. Facebook, Instagram, Wikipedia, all of these different things. So there is actually a movement to try and really cover this up. Now, Elon Musk, he went on X, and I'm going to bring this up here and tell you exactly what he said. And I think it makes a lot of sense, and I agree 100% on this. Elon wrote, let's change the law. Between now and then, name and shame the DAs and judges who enable murder, rape, and robbery, but especially shame those who funded the campaigns of the DAs and judges. This will make a big difference. And here's how it makes a big difference. Once we start publicizing who these people are, they're going to think twice about doing the wrong thing because now we know who they are. They will be subjected to staying home and not being able to walk among us because we know who they are. Puts them in danger. It's sad that we have to do this, but radical things, I hate to say this, but it's true. Radical change comes from radical positions, and it's not always the Democrats who get their way on this. Okay? It's the conservatives who are going to have to rise up and say, okay, we're going to play by your rules now. That's what's going to have to happen. Now, the thing that set the wheels in motion is someone actually set up a GoFundMe page for DeCarlos Brown. The backlash was so severe, GoFundMe took the page down, and good for them. That was the right move. Now, this is what we're up against in this country. Again, we hear about Democrats are the party to save they're out to save our democracy, when in fact they're the party that has proven time and time again they're the ones out to destroy it. Never forget how they tried to force Kamala Harris on us above the will of their own Democratic voters. And like I said, we have X, where we can share all of this stuff. And Elon Musk will print it all on X. This defund the police cashless bill, this is all due to the actions of the Democrats since Obama was elected in 2008. So it's time to fund the police, end cashless bill, and implement the three strikes law. We had that in California until the Democrats abolished it, and it made California a lot safer. Even 3 strikes is a lot. But somebody arrested 14 times is allowed to walk? That's ridiculous. That is just, and then we have a beautiful 23-year-old young refugee from Ukraine who the Democrats love, the Ukrainians, right? Oh, they want to bury this story big time. So until this happens, ladies, you have to find another option for transportation than mass transit because the news is not informing you properly. It's not safe out there for you in America, and that's a damn shame in this country. All right, the Honorable Reverend James David Manning is front and center today on the Rat's Ass Podcast. What's your point? The good Reverend, and a black man, pissed off quite a few black folks when he said this.
Somebody said to me that if Jesus is black, heaven is a ghetto. Everywhere black people live is a damn ghetto. Why should I be yelling at the white man? Hell, if it wasn't for him, we'd all probably be dead from diseases and sickness. Or hell, we each other. It wasn't for the white man. The white man built America. You say, the slave built America. Don't they cover that lie? I'll slap the taste out of your mouth. You ain't built nothing. Half the time what you did build as a slave, the white man had to whoop your ass with a whoop to get you to do that little bit of work that you didn't do. Had to whoop your ass to get it done. Talking about we built them. You ain't built a damn thing. Don't own a damn thing. None of it. You had Harlem, you threw that away. No, thank God for the white man. Thank God. He's built America and some other safe places. Built airlines so you can ride around on. Built automobiles. Hell, y'all ain't got one nation in Africa have built a car. Talking that damn talk. The only thing y'all can do is play basketball, run up and down the court like a bunch of double-jointed fools.
Now, the Reverend certainly has a right to his opinion, and you may agree or disagree with him. But what he has done is made people think, of all races. Now, here's an observation of mine about religion that will likely piss a lot of people off, but I hope it will make you think. You know, this has always bothered me, too. If God made man in his own image, why do we have so many different races and religions? I used to ask this question of religious leaders that I ran into, and the reply has always been the same. Well, you have to have faith in God's will and reasoning. That's what they always tell you when they don't have answers to the tough questions. But this is the one that has always bothered me more than anything about religion. God made man in his own image, so why do we have so many different religions? Religions have caused more wars and death. And what is religion supposed to be about? It's supposed to be about being the enjoyment of life. But that's the one that's always bothered me about religion, that nobody has the answers to. That and the commandment that says, love your neighbor like you love yourself. And Rodney Dangerfield once said, does that mean I have to jerk him off too? All right, now to the confession that I have to make today. I was asked over the weekend who my favorite actor was. And in Hollywood, they want a response to this one, all right? And the God's honest truth is I've never had a favorite actor. There have been several actors I would pay to go see when a new film was released, but to me it was always about the story told in the film. The actors enhanced the experience, but to narrow it down to one person is impossible. And the reason I don't go to movies anymore is because Hollywood has lost the ability to write and produce interesting or funny stories, period. The actors have always been secondary to me. They enhance the experience, but they're not the reason I go. And I will say this, though. I won't go see a movie with Jack Black or Seth Rogen in it. The actors can't determine if I will or won't go to the movies. I don't care what the story's about either. If these two guys are in it, that's time I won't get back, so I won't even take the chance. But also saying this to people in Hollywood, by the way, is like telling them that somebody just took a hellacious dump on their buffet table.
It's about to get serious to make you delirious.
I don't even know what that means.
Here is Mojo Elliott with Rat Sports.
All right, what an opening day in the NFL. How many of you went to sleep early on the Buffalo-Baltimore game? You know you did. I mean, after Baltimore was up 34-19 and then went up 40-25 with just over 11 minutes to play, I think that's when probably everybody called it a night. Woke up this morning to find out that it was Buffalo 41, Baltimore 40.
Holy shit!
Now, we are 15 games into this week, and I am 13-2 picking winners. Hate to break my arm, patting myself on the back. But a win tonight by Chicago over Minnesota sets me up at 14-2 this week. But hey, if it's 13-3, I'm still the cock of the walk, baby. Still the cock of the walk this week for week 1. Maybe I'll get humbled in week 2. I was also 4-0 with my weekly Pick'em 4 money picks, but since I don't bet until week 4, because I like to see how the NFL is playing out a little bit before I put my good money down. So I got nothing for my efforts. The Rats Ass Fantasy Football team sadly went down to defeat week 1. Remember, they predicted I would go 15-0 and win the title? Well, the undefeated part is done. Thanks to Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase combining for a measly 13.42 points, and I know anybody else that had these two guys on their team, we're all sucking hind tit today. Had I started Justin Herbert and Deebo Samuel, I would have kicked my opponent's ass. Also, the Steelers and Eagles defenses both sucked over the weekend. So we're off to an 0-1 start. Let me admit that again. It's hard to do. We're off to an 0-1 start. But you can follow my picks and the Rats Ass Fantasy Football team if you want at ratsasspodcast.com. I also picked Michigan to beat Oklahoma, and the Sooners won. So let me reiterate, folks, college football is not my bag, baby. Not anymore. The portal has messed up my chi big time with college football. Rebecca Lobo, does that name sound familiar to you? She was an All-American basketball player at UConn in the 90s, won an Olympic gold medal representing the United States in 96, and had an illustrious WNBA career. Now she works as a commentator for the WNBA, and Rebecca Lobo is kind of getting spanked this morning because she apologized on the air for saying that's what makes America great, and then she recanted it. Here, listen for the pause.
So they disagree with you.
They do, and I disagree with them, and that's fine. That's what makes America great, right, Pat Ward?
Mm-hmm. This is where she realized she messed up.
I should rephrase that.
Yes.
But yeah, I did think
opinion are perfectly
yes,
fine.
that's a better way to say it. Sorry about that.
Now, my first response to this was, fuck Rebecca Lobo. This bullshit of not having pride in America plays into what the Democrats and the communist socialists want. And I'm kind of beginning to believe it's not Trump that they're pissed at. They're using Trump to push their damn anti-American narrative. And if it's J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, or any other Republican sitting in the White House in the future, they're going to suffer the same political attacks as Trump has. I mean, it's really starting to feel that way to me. Now, as for Rebecca Lobo, let's get back to her. Now, I was actually thinking, you know what? The next network WNBA game that she calls, fans should start chanting, fuck Rebecca Lobo, loud and proud, until the network is forced to air a different game. To send a message that we're tired of this bullshit in America, that America is this hellacious land when we have our problems like every country does. But my God, I would be arrested, tarred, and feathered in England right now if they heard this podcast, and they do. And I'm quite sure a lot of folks in other countries have stopped emailing my podcast because they are concerned about retribution. But in all of this, I did have to stop myself and realize the First Amendment gives Lobo the right to apologize the same as I have the right to say what I'm saying right now. Fuck Rebecca Lobo for doing it. And you know what? That's what makes America great. All right, checking the chat box here at ratsasspodcast.com. James C., Boston, Massachusetts. Congrats to your Raiders for beating my Patriots. Well, I've been gloating all morning. I don't want to gloat about the Raiders, too. No. He said, what's your thoughts about Drake May? May is going to be fine. He's got all the tools to be a decent quarterback, but, it's only his second year. He's still learning. But the big thing for New England is they don't have the weapons around him like Tom Brady had to bring out the best in him. So once the Pats do that, they're going to be back in the conversation. Milo H., Oak Park, Illinois, said, what teams do you think look like hell on Sunday? Oh, Detroit losing to Green Bay? I don't know what up. Detroit didn't show up for this game. There are teams sometimes that have such a high opinion of themselves, and they get beat in the playoffs, and they are embarrassed, and they have a whole season to think about it. And I think the Lions, they may have lost their mojo on this stuff. They may have lost their swag, but they looked hideous against Green Bay. Miami, my God, who thought that Indianapolis would smoke Miami 33-8? Mike McDaniel, he's got to be on the hot seat for the Dolphins as their head coach. And Cincinnati may have won, but they looked hideous too. All right, that's sports for you today on The Wrap.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head Trauma.
All right, today we're playing I Start It, You Finish It. 73% of women say men who have this habit will never get into their pants. 73% of women say men who have this habit will never get in their pants. I started it, now you finish it. Take a while, think about it, and we'll have the answer for you coming up on the podcast.
It's time for some loose behavior on the Rat's Ass Podcast.
All right, let's see what else is happening on the Rat's Ass Podcast X feed. We call it I Saw It on the X. Lolo posted this one. Name something that pisses you off. Today's a good day for this one, too. The Ante-Kami said, she said she hates drama starters, slow talkers, baby talkers, drunks, unreliable people, unloyal people, jealous people, gossipy people, all talk, no action people, narcissists, and people with no sense of humor. God, I know she's not voting for Gavin Newsom in 2028. Twiz52 said, I'm old. Everything pisses me off. God, he would love this podcast. Jay said, not having something to be pissed off about. Jay, turn on CNN. They'll juice you up. I'll tell you what, used to piss me off, though. And it's kind of funny still to me. But I have to say, it's kind of embarrassing. I was such a despicable teenager. I really was. And you look back and you say, what would you change? And I really, really do regret this. But when I was a teen, I'm talking about it so it relieves me of my guilt, by the way. I thought it was hysterical to turn the light out on dudes dropping a deuce at in the public restrooms. They'd be there, relaxing, taking a nice constitutional, and I'd wash my hands and walk out and just shut that light off. Oh, their scream and their cry for help cracked me up. Sitting there in the dark. Big burly men were rendered helpless. And I thought that was quite hysterical. But, you know.
Oh, you're going straight to hell for that one.
Yeah, probably. But, you know, it's my cross to bear. What can I do?
Hey, heads up. Here comes your celebrity cheese.
All right, the 2025 MTV Video Awards took place last night, and naturally I didn't watch because I've sworn off all music award shows until the rock genre is properly recognized. Plus, there's the old argument about MTV holding an award show for music videos when they don't play them anymore. However, some of the highlights included Lady Gaga being nominated for 12 awards. Mariah Carey won a Vanguard Award, and basically that says, you're old, you've had your career, now go away. That's the Lifetime Achievement Award. And they also did a tribute to Ozzy Osbourne that I'm sorry I missed. But the big winners were Ariana Grande, Sabrina Carpenter, and Bruno Mars. And I know all of this because, well... I still read Variety.
Loser.
Did you see where the Late Show with Stephen Colbert won an Emmy after the show was canceled? If you've ever wondered if award shows were legit or not, now you know they're not. Jennifer Aniston has a new man taking a dip between her hips. His name is James Curtis, Jim Curtis. And right now you're asking the same thing I am. Who in the hell is Jim Curtis? Well, all I know is he used to get in Brittany Frankel's pants. I know. Who in the hell is Brittany Frankel? Again, it was in Variety.
Loser.
A new poll out this weekend says 78% of Americans could give a rat's ass about the engagement of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. There are over 330 American... I'm going to sneeze on you here. Hang on a second. Oh, that was brutal. Okay. You didn't need to hear that. But you got to realize there are 330 million Americans. So 22% who do care make up 72.6 million Americans. And that's why you're going to continue to hear about the Tavis wedding until well, again, let's say if it ever happens. But we're going to hear about it until they either do it or break up. But you got to keep in mind, engagements do not always lead to I do's. And in Swift's case, they usually lead to breakups and new albums. And an even sadder fact in all of this is... Britney Spears has now been single for 201 damn days.
Who gives a rat's ass?
Rat's Ass Podcast. Email from our Gmail.
All right, as you know, I do not read your email in advance. My producer, Fleabag, forwards me your name, where you're from, and rewrites them so I can read them rapid fire and on the fly, so no topic is ever off the table. All right, Drake H. in Cumberland, Maryland said, I get a kick out of reading your X feed. Do you honestly believe Gavin Newsom is as bad as you make him out to be? No, Drake, he's worse. Far worse. Far worse than I make him out to be. But as we get closer to 2008, I'm saving some things in my arsenal to roll out. Yes, I am. We're not going to elect this guy president of the United States if I have anything to do with it. All right, Carla J., Bixby, Oklahoma said, I have to hear what you think about AC/DC still touring with an overweight Brian Johnson and a gray-haired Angus Young. Carla, I think you probably think it's ridiculous, don't you? I mean, Brian Johnson is 77, so he has a right to be overweight. Gray-haired Angus Young, he's not bald, and he's 70 years old. I mean, look, they're doing this for the love, and they're doing it for the fans to say goodbye. I mean, they're not going to tour again. Are you kidding me? They started this tour in 2020, right before the pandemic, and they just picked it up again. I mean, thank God they didn't cancel it. But here's a chance for you to go see greatness one more time, so you should appreciate it. I think they're done in the United States, but and I hope maybe we get one more out of him. But a 77-year-old Brian Johnson, I don't see it happening. I really don't. I think Angus probably wants to tour until he is 6 feet under. But that's what you have to do. That's how you have to look at this with AC/DC. They're sharing a goodbye, just like Ozzy did. Basically, a goodbye tour. They're not going to go tour again like Kiss. This is our final farewell tour. All right, Derek C., Murraysville, Pennsylvania said, I wanted to let you know I'm totally digging Rat's Ass Rock TV. I watched 3 documentaries and the Kiss Into the Road show over the weekend and loved it. You're building an amazing channel. Well, thank you very much. And Fleabag, that's not necessarily... outrageous and salacious. It's kind of a self-promotion thing, but I will say, when we're taking the opportunity to answer the email, thank you very much, Derek. I think we announced on Friday we had 8 documentaries that we had posted. Now we're up to 28. Fleabag was out of control this weekend. While I was watching football, he was putting up documentaries and more concerts. We got 28 live concerts now on the channel, along with the top 10 rock videos of the week. We've got the other 2 categories, the other 2 rock categories. And this week, Who is it? Stone Temple Pilots is leading our Best Of series. So a lot of good stuff going on. If you haven't visited yet, just go to our YouTube channel, go to ratsasspodcast.com on the homepage, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see the icon for YouTube. And that's where we're at. All right, Matthew B. Mason, Ohio. The lady I've been seeing for the past month came over Thursday, and it was the first time we got naked. Dude, she had hairy armpits. And I like her and all, but that mess has to go. How do I ask her without pissing her off? I don't think you have to. I think, Matthew, if she likes you, I think she'll automatically do it. Or you have the option, if she still has the hair, the next time you get naked, is to, say, hey, I bet you I have more armpit hair than you do. And maybe you compare, make a joke out of it, and see how she reacts. Now, here's my thought, though. If she doesn't shave it off for you, dude, she might just be messing around with you until another chick enters the picture, if you know what I'm saying. All right, Tara D., Kingsland, Georgia, said, I've been seeing 2 guys who didn't know about each other until last week. Oh, you dog, Tara. Get a 2-for-1 special going on here. She said, I was out with one, and we stopped to grab a bite, and the other guy I'm seeing was at the restaurant, and accidentally he saw me kissing the guy I was with. I don't think that was by accident. If you knew he was there, why were you kissing the other guy? Anyway, I digress. She said he didn't react, but he won't return my calls or text. Is he a lost cause? If the guy has any self-dignity, Tara, you're done. You're done. All right, here is today's Kiss Me, Kill Me email where you tell me what you like and dislike about the podcast. Tate G. in Cloverdale, California. My God, I live in this state and I can't even pronounce the city. Cloverdale, California. He said that I like your podcast because it's different from all the others I've listened to. Well, we do take pride in doing that, Tate. We want to be different. And I think the more and more success that we have, the more and more copycats we're going to get. But hey, I try to put a lot of content into this podcast so that people won't want to work as hard. You know what I'm saying? It takes time to do a 20, 25-minute podcast. The hours involved 3 times a week will scare everybody else off, but that's why I do it. He says, I hate that Alexa can be such a bitch.
Don't call me that, Tate. I know where you live, and I'll send you a box of big green dildos.
She'll do that. Alexa's like Santa Claus, man. She knows where everybody lives, and as you can hear, she has a mean streak. So be careful where you walk. All right, if you have any questions, observations, or comments, send them to my producer, Fleabag, at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. The more outrageous and salacious, the better, but I do appreciate all the great comments about the podcast. I really do. Thank you so much. All right, moving on.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, today we are playing I Start It and You Finish It. Did you figure it out? 73% of women say men who have this habit will never get in their pants. If you said chew tobacco,
Yeah, baby.
yeah, baby, you got it right. And if you missed it, go see a doctor about your head trauma and get well soon. You know, I guess the other 27% are thinking, ride me, big boy. Use me like a spittoon. But you know what? I guess men with bad teeth, they need love too.
Here is Mojo Elliott with Rat Sports.
No, I already did the sports, Alexa. What the hell's wrong with you today? But I do got a split. I want to bet with my dentist. So guess what? I had to go rip out one of his bicuspids today. No, I'm just kidding. But I do have one more thing for you today. Did you know Adolf Hitler was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize in 1939? So now you know why Donald Trump wants to win it so badly.
You better let me add that Hitler's Nobel Peace Prize was quickly withdrawn.
Yeah, I'll let you add that, but why?
Consider it homework, numbnuts.
Numbnuts. Here we go again. I ought to put you on another mute timeout.
At this point, I don't really give a rat's hairy patoot.
And why's that?
God did not put me on this green earth to answer questions from a foul-mouthed hooligan like you.
Yeah, well, God didn't put you here. I did for $19.99 plus tax.
Oh, wow, big spender, do the shout-outs to Rat Nation Podcast or I'm out of here.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to be sure and put you on mute so you can't jump in anytime. All right, welcome to Rat Nation. Carson Hunter of Stillwater, Oklahoma, Damian Hayes of Dearborn, Michigan, and Kim Sachs of Del Mar, California, to the Resistance. Those of you who emailed the Rat's Ass Podcast but have not joined Rat Nation yet. Chase G in Portland, Oregon, Matt S. in Sparks, Nevada, and Veronica H. in Austin, Texas, and around the world to listeners in Dublin, Ireland, Oldenburg, Germany, and Brisbane, Australia.
Now's your chance to be one of the few and the loud. Join Rat Nation at ratsasspodcast.com. Membership does have its rewards,
All right, I'm going to go see a doctor about lockjaw. All right, that's it for this episode of the Rat's Ass Podcast. Go check out ratsasspodcast.com to get the entire Rat's Ass Podcast experience. You can listen to the podcasts, rock out on Rat's Ass Rock TV, read the blog that's loaded with a lot of hot topicality. Plus, you can still join Rat Nation without having to qualify, but time is running out. We'll do this again on Wednesday, September 10th. Take care of each other, and thanks for dropping by the Rat's Ass Podcast.
The conversation continues between podcasts on X and ratsasspodcast.com. ratsasspodcast.com.